Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to build a search intent lead gen system all in make.com and for not that much money at all. This is going to boost your reply rates and bring you a bunch of clients. Let's get into it. All right, so very high level, what we're building here today is a make.com automation in two parts. All right, so this is the first part and this is the second part. This first part, essentially what it's going to do is scrape LinkedIn jobs for people hiring jobs in our industry or in our area of expertise. Essentially what it's going to do is scrape those job posts, add them to a database, and then retrieve that person's email so that we can email them and pitch them our services, okay? And then once we do that, we're going to send some data to our second scenario where we're going to personally research that decision maker at that company, write them a personalized icebreaker for a cold email, and then add them to a cold email campaign. And instantly, basically where we can say, hey, instead of hiring a full-time copywriter, for example, or whatever, XYZ, hire us. You don't have to pay us benefits, and we just charge a very basic monthly fee, all right? That's what we're building in this video. Let's get into it. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come to Make, and we're gonna create a new scenario, and I'm gonna call it LinkedIn Job Scraper Lead Gen System. That's a mouthful. And this is going to be the first of two automations we need to build in order to build this, this lead gen system. Okay. So in this video, we're going to be pretending to be a copywriting company selling, I don't know, like a monthly fee copywriting service or like a monthly subscription. Okay. So let's say we're charging $3,000 a month for our copywriting services. What we're going to do is we're going to search and scrape all the jobs on LinkedIn of any company hiring for a copywriter. And then we're going to basically look for their email, okay? And then once we get that email, we're going to cold email those folks with some AI personalization to essentially say, hey, instead of hiring somebody and paying them benefits and all this, you know, onboarding, just hire us for $3,000 a month. We're your guys, okay? So that's what we're going to do. And so in order to build a system like that, first thing we're going to do is we need to actually find how are we going to scrape these jobs off LinkedIn. Okay, so we need to get a scraper that's going to scrape jobs off LinkedIn for us. And in order to do that, we're going to come to Appify. All right, and if you've never been to Appify before, it's basically just a store of bots that scrape the internet for you. Okay, and they all cost different things and they all do different things. And there's a bunch of them. There's like 1,000 of them, maybe more. All right, and so what we need to do is we need to find a LinkedIn job scraper bot. Okay, and so you can see there's a bunch of them. All right. Now, specifically what we need is preferably we want a cheap bot. It's not going to cost us much. But two, we need to make sure that whatever bot we choose returns the domain or the URL of the company who has posted that job on LinkedIn. Now, the reason we need that URL of their company is because that domain, their company domain, is what we're going to feed into another system later called Any Mail Finder, which is going to help us get and retrieve the emails of decision makers at that company. Okay, so we need the domain. If one of these bots doesn't return the domain, we don't want to use it. All right, so we can look here, and it looks like this one's $30 a month. I don't want that one. This one's also $30 a month. Who cares? All right, this one's looking better. So LinkedIn Job Scraper PPR, pay per result, $1 for every 1,000 results. That's basically free. You're not getting any cheaper than that. All right. And so we just want to make sure that we are getting that company website as a field out of this scraper. Perfect. Looks like we are. Okay, cool. So I think we can use this one. Now, essentially how this works is if we go to LinkedIn Jobs and we go look for copywriting jobs in the US, so you can see there's like 17,000 results. Okay, so there's a lot. That's great. That's great for us. Okay, so there's a lot of opportunity here. Now, basically, this bot is going to scrape, you know, all these jobs for us and return us all this information. So that's perfect. So all we need to do really is copy this URL, just like that, and you just paste it here into Appify in this field, and then you run it. Okay, you tell it how many jobs you want, which for us, we're just going to do 100 right now, just so we don't burn through all of our pennies. Okay, so we just want 100. We're not going to pay anything more than 10 cents, which is sick. Okay, so we're going to pay 10 cents and we're going to get 100 job posts straight into our export, okay? Okay, so you can see now that if I run this, this bot is going to go start scraping LinkedIn for us, okay, for 100 jobs. All right, so you can see it's just kind of cooking here. We're running, and this will take maybe 2 minutes, okay? So what we need to do is, while that's running, and you've now seen that, we need to come back to make, and we need to actually create a trigger for our automation, okay? So the only thing we want to do manually in this whole process is go search LinkedIn, grab that URL, and paste it in back here in this field. That's all we want to do. The rest I want to happen automatically. All right, so let's trigger our automation here in Make. So we're going to look for Appify, and we want to do watch actor runs, okay? And we're going to create a new webhook here, all right? And this is going to be called real Appify webhook or something like that. All right, and then you want to make sure you're connected to your Appify account. All right, and then you want to find the actor. All right, in this case, we're using our LinkedIn Jobs PPR, Curious Coder Actor. So this one right here, and look, okay, it's done. Perfect. Returned 100 results for us. So that's good. And we're going to click save. Save. And then we're going to run this again. And this time, we're just going to run it one more time. I probably should have waited. But we're just going to run it again. We only paid 10 cents or something, so it's fine. We're going to run this, and we just want to make sure that this is going to trigger our automation here back in make.com, okay? So let's give this another minute to run, and then we'll make sure that our automation triggers. Hey guys, just wanted to drop in quickly and let you know that I just launched my own school community called Automation U over on school.com. If you guys want to go join, it's pretty awesome. It's completely free. I will have the link linked down below in the description. There's a bunch of free resources, classes, a lot of cool stuff to get you started in the automation and the AI world, as well as access to a growing community of builders looking to, improve skills in this automation industry. So if you guys are interested, go down and just join. It's completely free, and I'd love to have you there. All right, let's get back to the video. All right, so that's done. We'll come to make, and perfect. Okay, so this triggered. All right, great. Okay, so again, that's going to be the only manual intervention we have to do in this entire automation, because this is just going to watch automatically, and anytime we run that, this is going to trigger, and then we can start firing our automation. So that's amazing. That's amazing. Now, if we look here at the data we're getting out of this watch actor runs module, you can see it's not really the data we want. It's not our job postings from LinkedIn. It's just a bunch of random data about the actual bot that just ran. The start time, the finish time, the duration, all this kind of stuff. We're not getting the actual job posts. And the reason for that is because this module right here, this watch actor runs module, it's going to store all the data we want in a dataset ID, okay? So this dataset ID, we need to actually extract all the job postings out of this dataset. All right, so how do we do that? Well, we're just going to add another Appify module here, and it's going to be called Get Dataset Items, okay? And make sure you are connected to the right Appify account, all right? And then this dataset ID, we're just going to feed in from our first Appify module right here, all right? Limit, I'm just going to bump this up to 10,000, whatever. And then we're going to hit save. And now, I'll go copy this one just so I have this. Now, when I run just this, and I copy in our dataset ID, now we can see we've got, should be 100 different bundles here with jobs. Okay, so that's looking good. So 100 bundles, and each of these bundles is a different job post of somebody hiring for a copywriter. All right, so this is looking great. So now that we have this data, I'm just going to disconnect this for now, just temporarily, and we'll connect this again at the end, but I just don't want to have to run this every time to trigger automation. So we are just going to run manually from this, our automation, okay? And so I'm gonna actually come in here and just paste in my dataset ID just for now. I will switch that out at the end, okay? All right, so that's looking good. We'll save this. All right, I'll move this out of the way. And now we're ready for step number 2. So what we want to do now is we want to come to Google Sheets, and we want to actually put all of our job posting and all that data into basically a Google Sheets database. So I'm going to say LinkedIn jobs database. We'll call it that. All right. And then we've got, you can see here, each of our bundles, we've got a bunch of different fields. So I'm just going to come here. I'm going to come to chat real fast, and I'm going to say, hey, give me a comma separated list of each of these headings that I can use as column headers in my Google Sheet. Okay, and I'll just paste that in just like that. and it's just going to give me a little list here. Perfect. This looks good. So I'll copy this and I'll just come here and then I'll go data and then split text to columns. Perfect. And so now I've got a good, nice, beautiful list of headers for my columns. Okay, so that's looking good. And so the reason we did that is because now we're going to come here. We're going to add a Google Sheets module and we're going to add a row. Make sure you're connected to your Google. We're going to go find that new spreadsheet, which I think I call LinkedIn something, LinkedIn Jobs Database. Okay, sheet 1, and then it contains headers, and then we're literally just going to map fields here from our retrieve data set module. Again, you probably don't need all of these. You know, there's a ton of data here that you just won't use, but I'm just going to, for consistency, just throw it all in there because why not? I don't need that one. Post it at benefits array, whatever. Okay, description, applicants count. And you can imagine how like you can use a lot of this to really customize your workflow. So for example, if you want to make sure it's a full-time gig, you only email people with full-time job postings, or you only want to email people with a marketing job function or in a specific industry. You obviously could use this in a bunch of different ways. I'm not going to do that here. I really just need this company website to get emails and potentially employee count, because I think we're going to filter. Maybe we'll filter out these job posts for like any company under 1,000 employees or something, because maybe we don't want to email people or companies that are like 10,000 people, because we'll never hear from them. Okay, so you can do a bunch of stuff here, but we're just going to map fields. Perfect. And then I'm just going to run this and just make sure this is working. Okay, so you can see we're actually populating our Google Sheet right now live. And it's super ugly, but you can see they're being added here. I can't even keep up. So we should have 100 coming in. Perfect. So those are coming in. That's looking good. All right, I'm just going to come over here and clean this up a little bit. I hate how this looks. Okay, so we'll just do that. And then I'll give my header a little formatting work. So that's looking good. Okay, we can hide a couple of these rows. We don't need them all. Whatever. Okay, sweet. All right, so now a couple things we want to do here. One is we want to look at our company website field, which is looking pretty good. Now, again, this is the field we're going to use to actually go retrieve emails automatically using a tool called Any Mail Finder. All right. Now, I think we can notice here that a lot of these are the same company. So it looks like Meta is hiring a bunch of different content writers. And so we don't necessarily want to have duplicates in here. Okay, so that's one thing that's catching my eye. The other thing is a lot of these companies, especially Meta, I mean, they've got 129,000 people. We're not going to email Facebook. We want to go after these guys, these small to medium sizers, just because we're just going to have better luck, cold emailing those people and providing value for them. Okay, so in order to fix that, let's do this. So let's come here, and first thing I want to do, I think, is I want to add a new module. And this is going to be another Google Sheets module. And it's going to be a search rows module. And basically what I want to do is, if a company already exists in my database, I don't want to add it again. Okay, so if I already have Meta once in my database, I don't want to add them again because I don't want to email them more than one time. I don't want to look for emails more than once. I just need each company in this list one time. I don't need them multiple times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search. Every time I retrieve posts from LinkedIn, I'm going to search my Google Sheet. And I'm going to search for the company name associated with that job post in that job post bundle coming out of Apify. And I'm basically just going to say, all right, is company name equal to the company name that I'm pulling out of this job post, okay? Okay, I think that makes sense. And limit, I just want to do one. All right. So basically, again, what we're doing is we get a job post from Apify. It was posted by Meta. Before we add it to our Google Sheet here, before we add it here, I'm going to search that Google Sheet and see if there's any company named Meta already in there. If there is, we're going to skip it. We're not going to add it. If Meta isn't in there yet, we're going to add it. Okay. And so let's see, test this. All right. So it looks like Meta is in there. It found it, which is good. Total number of bundles. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a filter here, and it's going to be, is company in database already. And I'm just going to do total number of bundles is equal to 0. Okay, now if you're not following here, basically what we're doing is if we search our Google Sheet and the company name is there, it's going to return a bundle. It's going to return it. So again, we search for Meta and Meta was in there, so it returned that field in our table. So it returned this field right here, Meta. And it returned a bundle of 1. Now, if Meta wasn't in there, our total number of bundles would be 0. It's not in there. And so basically what we're saying here is if our total number of bundles is 0, then we're going to let it through the filter and we're going to add the row. Okay. So that's looking good. I like that. And now I want to do a couple other filters here too. I want to, back here, I want to make sure that we don't even proceed through our process unless our job post is good and vetted. All right, and so to do that, I'm going to basically look up my employee count, and I want my employee count to be less than 1,000 people. Yeah, let's do 1,000. Okay, so unless the company that posted that job has less than 1,000 people, we don't even search for it in our Google Sheet. Okay, and then what I want to do is I just want to make sure that each of my fields here has a website. Okay, and each of these does. There are some scenarios where you build a system like this and you just don't get a URL, you don't get a domain. And in that case, we can't use it, so we're just going to get rid of it. So I'm just going to put that in there just as good process. So I'm going to say if company website does not exist, exists, then we're going to let it through. Okay. So if they have less than 1,000 and if the website exists, we're then going to search for that company name. And if that company name isn't in the sheet, we're going to add it. That's all we're doing so far. Okay. So let's test this somehow. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all of these for now. And let's just run this and see how many we get in there. Okay. With all these new filters from our scraper, let's see how many good posts we get. Okay. All right, getting a good bit. So again, this first filter is looking and saying, hey, does this company have less than 1,000 people? And does the company domain exist out of Apify? If it does, perfect. We're going to search our sheet and make sure that we're not adding any duplicate companies. So it looks like out of those 100, 43 job posts were good. And of those 43, 37 were not duplicates. Okay, so I'm going to come back here. I'm just going to make this look better. And then we can just make sure this is looking all right. Okay, so we shouldn't have any duplicate company names, which looks good. And each of these should be under 1,000 company size. Company employees should all be under 1,000. That looks good. Okay, so we started at 100 and we're down to 38. Now you can imagine that at scale, back in Apify, you know, you're paying, what is it, 1/10 of a penny for each one. You could just scrape this all day long. You know what I mean? Or 1/100 of a penny. Whatever, I'm bad with my math. Anyways, you know, again, we limited this to just 100 job posts. But remember, in LinkedIn, there was 16,000. So you could theoretically scrape all 16,000. And if we're getting maybe 40% of that, you know, that's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of people. Okay, so this is looking good. What do we do next? Well, let's come to make. And now that we have a good little starting database here, all right, and we've got all of our websites, what we can do now is start to look for emails of decision makers at those websites with that domain attached to their email account, okay? And so what we're going to use for that is something called Any Mail Finder. Okay, if you've never used Any Mail Finder, basically what it does is it lets you put in a domain of a company and then set a category for the type of email that you want to pull, and then it searches for an email account at that company for you. Okay, and so you can do this one by one. All right, you can just do decision makers one by one manually, or we can do it in make.com pretty easily by just coming and adding an Any Mail Finder module, and we're going to do search for a decision maker's email. Okay, and you just want to make sure that you are connected to your Any Mail Finder account. We're going to search by domain, and then our domain, well, we're pulling that straight in from our bot. Our category, we want to do CEOs, basically decision makers. All right, anyone that is able to hire people. All right, in this case, maybe marketing would be good because we're doing content and like copywriting. But let's do CEOs now. All right, and then we're going to do only fully verified emails. Yeah, that should be good. Okay, and then that should be good. Now we need to open up a new tab, and we're going to start building the second scenario here that we're going to need for this automation. Okay, so first half, again, we're scraping jobs, and then we're finding emails. The second half, we're basically going to take those emails and write AI personalization icebreakers for them, and then add them to our instantly campaigns. Okay, so the first half is done. Now we got to do the second half, which is a little more fun. So we're going to create a new scenario, and we're going to call this, what we call the first one again, LinkedIn Job Scraper, lead gen system, 2 of 2. Okay, and we need to trigger this somehow. Okay, and so now we need to basically connect our first automation to our second automation. Okay, so I'm going to come to my second automation. I'm going to add a webhook, and I'm going to do a custom webhook. I'm going to add one, and it's going to be just called, I don't know, my lead gen webhook. Okay, hit save. And then I'll come here, I'll copy this. And then basically we're going to connect our two scenarios now. So I'm going to come to the end of my first one, and I'm going to do make an HTTP request, sorry. Okay, I'm going to paste in the URL, I'm going to paste my webhook URL. Okay, I'm going to do a post method. All right. And then my body type is going to be raw. And I'm going to, I think I do JSON here. And then my request content, we're going to actually populate with some fields. All right. And so we need to pass some of this data that we just got out here from Zuckerberg. We need to pass this to our next scenario. Okay. And so what we need to do is we need to actually just like populate here a lot of this stuff. So email is the first thing we're going to send through. All right. And then we're also going to send through name, and that'll be person full name, I think. And then job title. All right, that'll be here. And let's see, anything else I need? We'll do the domain just in case. I don't think I need anything else. Oh, I do need I need row number. And I'll tell you why here in a second. Yeah, I need row number. And let's see, what else? Row number. And I think that's all we need. I don't think I actually need domain. It should be good. If we need anything else, I can come back and grab it. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so let's save this. Save our scenario. And then let's just start running this here. And let's see what's going on. Save this, run this, okay. Basically, I just want to make sure that this is going to send what we need. So row number 2, let's do my email. Okay, so let's just see if this sends bad request, double quoted property name, JSON, blah, 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 blah. What did I mess up? Okay, let's come here. Oh, I got a comma here. Okay, let's save it. Let's do it again. And let's see if this is going to pass what we need. Okay. Okay, perfect. So that went. Okay, cool. That triggered. Okay, cool. So that's connected now. Perfect. So I'm going to come here and save this. And actually what we can do now as well is we can actually reconnect this. Is that true? I think so. Let's just reconnect it now and put our dataset ID just before I forget. So dataset ID will be here dynamically. We'll save this. All right, so first half is done. We'll test this all at the end. Now we can work on the second half. All right, so this is a pretty complex sales system. And if you want to get something like this in place, but you can't figure it out or you need something slightly different, don't worry about it. Get in touch with me down below at www.automatio.io. And I'd love to work with you to help you build out a sales system like this so that you can grow your client base. You get systems like this in place, you can scale rapidly. So get in touch below and I'd love to work with you. All right, so perfect. So now that these are connected and we're pulling in our emails and some data, job title, name. Oh, that's what I need. I need company name. I need company name. Let's make sure we pass our company name through too. Okay, so let's just copy this. Perfect. And then let's see, company name, where can we get that from? We'll get that from our first one. Where are you? Company name, perfect. All right, and then I'm gonna send this through because we're gonna need company name here in just a second, and I'll show you why. So I'll just send this one more time. I don't think we need domain, but I threw it in there anyways. And then company name, Matio. And I just want to make sure this is running. And then I'll hit OK. Cool. Okay, now we have company name. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add a Perplexity AI module, create a chat completion. All right, and you want to connect to your Perplexity account. If you don't have one, it's pretty cheap. I normally load like $5 to $10 on there, and that's good for a lot of searches. Now, what Perplexity does is it's really cool. You can try this out, but it's basically just like an AI Google. So if I type in my name and I search, I get all this like cool information about me. All right, and so what we're going to do basically is we're going to look up everybody's name, their title, and their company. We're going to throw it into Perplexity and basically get a custom readout on whatever Perplexity can find on that person around the internet. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take all this information and we're going to write a custom one-sentence icebreaker that makes it look like we wrote this email personally. Okay. So for example, if somebody was doing this for me, they go, "Hey, love what you're doing at Automatio. Love your AI systems that you're building. Really cool. Hey, I wanted to pitch you on this." So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so to do that, again, we're just going to use, I think Sonar is a good model. And then we're going to do a message. And basically, we're just going to throw in name, job title, and company name. All right, and role is going to be user. Okay, perfect. And then that should be good. So let's just make sure this is working. All right, so I'm going to run this module only. Again, I'm going to look up Alex Leishow, founder, Automatio. I'll hit OK. And Perplexity, if you have credits and all that kind of good stuff, it's going to start chugging. All right, and now we should be able to see what it found about me. Okay, and so here it is. It's exactly what I just showed you. All right, and so what we can do now is we have all this custom information on the person we're going to send an email to, which is awesome, and it's all happening automatically. What we can do now is we can actually connect to ChatGPT to basically say, hey, take this, write me a one-sentence icebreaker that we can attach as part of an email campaign. All right, and so that's what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to add an OpenAI module, and it's going to be create a completion. All right, and we're going to use, I think we're going to use O4 Mini system. Okay, we're going to add a message as the system. I'm going to say, you are a helpful, ice-breaking writing agent. All right, and then as the user, I'm going to say, I've got a prompt already made for us. Write an icebreaker, a one-line customized introduction for a cold email campaign. Use the provided data from a Google search as context. Your tone of voice should be casual bar conversation, Spartan, no fancy language. Look for plausible but vague connections where possible. Respond in JSON format. No exclamation points. Don't be overly excited. All right. And then I'm going to give it an example. Basically, hey, Jamie, love the mission. Also believe strongly in what you talk about on your pod, small team sizes, and minimizing meetings. Okay. So that is kind of what we're going to go with. And we'll see how it does. We can always tweak it if we need to. All right. And then I'm just going to give it the Google search. All right. Which is going to be our message content right here. Okay. All right. And then we're just going to set the response format to JSON object. We're going to parse the JSON response, and mass completion tokens will be 300. Okay. Perfect. And then temperature, I'm going to drop down actually to like maybe 0.5, just so it doesn't get crazy. I want it to be pretty standard what it says. Okay. And then that should be good. I'm going to save this. And then let's run this one more time and kind of see what we get here. All right. So last time through here, we'll just try this again. All right, we'll hit OK. We'll run that. We'll come pull that through. Perplexity's working to search. And now we're writing our icebreaker. Okay. So result, we have our icebreaker here. Hey, Alex, been following your journey from finance to building hands-off business systems. Always cool to see someone making automation actually practical. That is perfect. That is so good. That is actually, like, I would answer that email. I would actually answer that email. I left my job in finance a year ago. That sounds super custom, super personalized. And really, we're not doing anything. It's all automated. So now what we do is we want to add this icebreaker into our Google Sheet. So we're going to update a row. Okay. And this is why we needed to pass that row number through, because we need to know what row to update with this icebreaker. Okay, so we're going to come to LinkedIn Jobs, spreadsheet, sheet name. Okay, again, we're just connecting back here. I've added a column here called icebreaker. All right. And basically, we're going to grab our row number from our webhook. Perfect. Remember, we passed that through here in our HTTP request. Okay, that's why we did that. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to update our icebreaker with our icebreaker. Okay, just like that. Perfect. So now when I run this, automatically in this column, we're going to get our icebreaker to come through. So that's perfect. All right. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to actually add this contact to Instantly. Now, Instantly, if you've never used before, is a cold email system or software where basically you can hook up a bunch of different emails and send bulk emails in mass to different people from different email accounts. Okay, so this is what we're going to use to actually, run our email campaign. So I'm just going to duplicate one of these here. I'm going to duplicate this one. All right, and I'm just going to call this demo. All right, we're going to duplicate this campaign. All right, and so what we can see here is we now have a new campaign called Copywriting Campaign Demo. And we can automatically add leads to this campaign. All right. And we're going to do that in mate.com all automatically. And then once we add those leads along with their associated icebreakers, we're then going to add them to a sequence, an email sequence. It looks something like this. Okay. So it's going to look like, icebreaker. We're going to pull that in dynamically. Wanted to run something by you. I'm new to this, but I put something together a few months ago that works well. To make a long story short, it's an outreach system that uses AI to find people hiring content writers and copywriters and then pitches them. I ran it for myself when I used to run a web dev company. Got to the point where we're making 10K a month. I know this is completely out of left field, but I'm fairly confident we could do something similar. Wanted to see if there's any interest. Okay. So what we're doing here with this is we have a set email, but because we're dynamically feeding in a personalized icebreaker to each one, it feels custom. This is going to boost your reply rates a bunch. All right. And then you get them on a call, you close them, you sell them your copywriting services. Okay. So this is kind of what we're doing here. So what we need to do is we need to get our leads into Instantly. All right. So to do that, we're going to come here and we're going to look for Instantly. All right. And we are going to add a lead to a campaign. Okay, campaign ID is going to be our demo copywriting campaign. Our lead email, we're passing that through our webhook. First name, we don't have. I'm just going to do full name for now. We could do some slice and dice work back here to pass, first name or something. I'm not going to do that here. Company name is going to be here from our webhook. And then our personalization is going to be our icebreaker, which is right here. Okay. Great. Website we can do as well if we wanted, just for consistency, but we don't need to. Okay, so we're going to hit save. All right, and so that is looking really good. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to turn this scenario on. All right. And what I want to do now is I think I want to test this and just see how we're looking. Okay, I'm going to test the whole thing. Yeah, I'm going to test the whole thing now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to LinkedIn. I'm going to grab my URL again. Then I'm going to I'm going to make sure this is running as well. Okay, so both of my scenarios are running. I'm going to come to Appify, go to Actor, and I'm going to paste this in. And this time I'm going to scrape 200 jobs and just 200 jobs. And we're going to see what happens. We're going to see if this works, see if we run into any errors or anything like that. So this is running now. The second this is done, we're going to trigger our Appify actor. We're going to pull the dataset ID. We're going to search to make sure that company that posted that job isn't already in our list. Okay, if it's not in our list, we're going to add it to the bottom of our list. And then we're going to search for its email of somebody that's in a position of power at their company. It's going to find that email. We're going to pass all of that through our HTTP request to our second scenario, where we're going to look that person up in Perplexity, write a custom icebreaker, add that icebreaker to our sheet, and then add that person to an Instantly campaign. Okay. And so that's what's going to happen. We're going to give this another 2 minutes or so, and then we're going to watch this happen live and see if it all works. At the end of the day, we should have a bunch of leads with personalized icebreakers being added to Instantly automatically, that emails these people automatically for us as well. So we kind of launch this campaign. We don't have to do anything. Maybe once a day or once a week, we go find new LinkedIn jobs, paste it in, and this thing just runs automatically. Okay. So let's just sit back here and see what happens. All right. So we can see we're pulling in all of our jobs. We're making sure that the posting is good. Okay. The employee count is less than 1,000 and they have a website. And then basically we're searching to see, hey, is that company name already in our database? If it is, we don't want to add it again. We don't want to email them again. We don't want to search for their email again. We already have it. If it's not, let's add them and then search for their email. Okay. And once we have their email, we're going to send a request to then come over here, fire a webhook, look them up in Perplexity, write a custom icebreaker, add them to our sheet, and then add them to Instantly. So if I come back here to my sheet, we can see that I have icebreakers for all of my new people here. Okay, so that's looking great. All right, we can read these. Hey Dan, respect how much you turned your own ADHD journey into something that helps folks get dialed in without the usual side effects. That's amazing. He's going to respond to that probably. At least I hope. All right, so now you can see we've got all these leads here. They all have their own personalization. And so now when I come to my sequences and I preview, you can see we've got a personalized icebreaker at the top of this email. Hey, saw you spun up conspiracy theory and mofo after building Unfold into a go-to for streaming giants. Impressive moves. Wanted to run something by you. Boom. Then you hit them with this and basically try and get them on a call. Okay. And so guys, this system is absolutely insane. All you have to do is come to LinkedIn Jobs, copy a search URL and paste it into our Appify bot. At that point, the system takes over and your leads, maybe 16,000 or so, are going to get an email from you that looks like you've looked them up personally, you've been following their journey, and then hits them with the pitch. So your reply rates are going to be crazy. You're going to make a lot of sales. This is an insane lead gen system for you. So anyways, if you guys like this video, go down and smash that like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing. That would be awesome. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go let me know about it down in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's been an awesome video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.